Okay, you can see that the door locks are erratic and they operate on their own. What could that be? Got the electrical diagram here. Let's take a look and see what's involved in this system. Now, of course, you've got a body control module, which is a computer. You've got relays, an unlock relay, a lock relay, another lock relay. You've got switches for the driver's door, the passenger door, and the lift gate. You've got a remote keyless entry in here. And you've got motors, door lock actuator motors for the driver, passenger, right sliding door, left sliding door, and the lift gate motor. In addition to that, of course, you've got connectors and wires. Now, as you look at the description of how this system works, the door lock system, when the BCM receives an input from the door lock cylinder, it will ground the lock relay coil. Now, the body control module is actually what's doing the control, but it receives inputs from the switches. The switches tell it when it should be unlocking or locking the door, and then the body control module gets that signal, turns it around, and sends it out to the relay to activate the door lock actuators. So the body control module could be bad, we don't know yet, but it also could be the input signals and it could be the output signals. Since the input is where it all starts, we're going to look at the input side and check those signals and make sure that they're good input signals. So as we review the electrical diagram, you see that the ground comes in from the bottom. The first place it goes is the door lock switch is on the driver's side, and that goes to pin 45. The next place is the passenger door, goes to pin 55, and then the last place is the lift gate, which goes to pin number 44, all inputs into the BCM. So let's start with the three switch grounds. So now, after reviewing the electrical diagram, we know we're looking for the ground signals coming from the body control module. So I want to be able to tap into those ground wires. The body control module is actually back here. Now you can actually get to it from underneath here. I removed these panels just so that you can see where we're working. Now you can remove them too if you want a little easier access. But the body control module is right back there, and underneath it you can pull the wire harness out. So I've actually pulled the harness out, pulled a little bit of the wire loom off so that I can get to the wires, and I've tapped into the three wires that correspond to the three grounds going into the BCM. So we brought our wires up from down below and we've got them tapped in here. We're going to have the red trace, the blue trace, and the yellow trace. So now we're ready to drive it and look at the waveform. Okay, we've got the lab scope hooked up and you're going to see a lot of reflection in that screen. But the red line on top is the lift gate, the blue line on the middle is the driver's door, and the yellow line on the bottom is the passenger door. Now we're hooked up to the ground side of this switch. Now we're going to go drive. We're starting out from a dead stop. You can see the right one activated. We're going to turn right. You see the locks activate when you see that. Come up to a stop. Accelerate. Okay, the vehicle's at a stop and still running, but we're going to activate by hand the driver's door. We'll lock it, and then unlock it, lock it. You see, sometimes it doesn't work. You can see a little glitch there. I will unlock it. Now we're going to go to the passenger door. We'll lock it, unlock it, lock it, unlock it. Now you can see the yellow one's working fine. Now this, we're not doing it at all. It's all doing it on its own. Now we go to the driver's door, unlock it, lock it, and you notice activity up on the red line. Now go to the passenger door, now watch the red line. So no matter which door we're doing, we're getting activity on that red line. Now if you notice this, we set it all up and everything's the same, but the first thing I notice is the space between the yellow and blue and red is all different. And now as we're driving, you can see an erratic signal appear on the red scope. So the red scope is most likely our problem. But why is it different? Well, remember at the lab scope you can also have a min-max. So if I go down here to the min-max, you can see that the yellow and the blue are 5 volts, but the red is only registering 2 volts. So when you go back up here and look, that's why the spacing is different. There's 5 volts on the other two, but only 2 on the red. As we go back to the electrical diagram, you can see I've got it marked. The R for the red trace is coming from the liftgate key cylinder switch. So we're going to go unplug that and eliminate that from the circuit. Okay, while we're out driving, we just came back here and we'd previously loosened the panels here. But here's the liftgate switch, and we're just going to unplug it. So we're going to eliminate that from the circuit. Now we're going to go drive again. Okay, now we've got that switch unplugged, and again, if you look at that interval, we've got equal spacing between all the lines now on the traces. And if you go down to the min-max on the live data, you can see that on the red line we're reading 5 volts now, the same as all the rest. So we're beginning to narrow in on our problem. Now let's go for a drive. Now the lock's just activated, but that's because we reached 15 miles an hour. They're supposed to activate at 15 miles an hour. Now as we continue to drive, our experience here in the past when we were driving this, by now we would have clearly had glitches on the red scope. Came to a stop, accelerate and turn left. Now we have no more false activation of the door lock switches. Now this is a still captured frame of the driver's door, the blue trace, when we activated the switch. Since it's blue, look to your left and look at the blue numbers. You'll see it's about 5 volts, and when it activates, it drops pretty close to 0. Go down at the bottom and look at the min-max. The blue trace is reading 5.35 maximum and drops down to 0.98. So it's dropping downward. It's a voltage drop on an activated switch. Now look at the capture of the red trace. Look to the left and you'll see that it's reading about 5 volts and drops down to about 2. And you can see that at the bottom as well. But notice this, when the switch activates, it goes up to 5 volts. Normally the live data was 2.2, but it goes to a maximum of 5 point. So then it is going up. There is no voltage drop. It is never dropping down close to 0. This also indicates a bad circuit. And then you can all leave your comments as to what you think the problem is now.